Okay, thank you for meeting with me today.
Of course, Ms. Nara.
If you can just introduce yourself and what you do at Henderson.
Absolutely. I'm the assistant principal here at Henderson Middle. I've been here since October of last year, and so my name is Jose Escobedo.
Can you explain what a vision statement hopes to accomplish in a school?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I look at a vision, at a mission and a vision statement, sometimes some people can get confused with what they both mean. But when you look at what the mission is actually the present, right? What do you want to kind of do today? And when you look at the vision, you're kind of trying to figure out how do you want to get there? What does the future look like in 5 and 10, 15 years here at a school? Before we get started on that, I did want to kind of look at 2 vision statements of high-powered companies right now. And when you look at Tesla, the automotive group, their vision is we want to be the company that brings in this new electrical aspect, this new safer for the environment, and they want to be the best company that there ever is or was. The same thing kind of goes with when you look at Amazon. Amazon's looking to be customer-oriented, customer-friendly. It's the customer that's right. And I know I've called them a couple times and complained about a few products, and I think that is what you get. One product I was very adamant that you guys had told me that I could ship it within this time, and so what they ended up doing is they ended up crediting me that money and then also letting me keep that part. But that's the other part of their vision is we also want to have this base and this product that's out there and is available. Kind of like I guess a Walmart on steroids. But what you want to look in a school is what is the school going to do to empower the child? Okay, what is it that we're going to try to implement as a vision that's going to help the student grow? Okay, when you kind of look at what the district has been doing in the last couple of years is now we have a component. I think you can maybe talk a little bit about that, but the SEL component. And we were one of the first pilot schools. And so what we're looking at here is how do we also improve that social emotional learning of the student? Because I guess more and more research does tell us that student is on point with his social and emotional, then he can take learning to another level because he's going to have the energy, he's going to have the skills to be able to do that. So when you look at what you hope to accomplish in a school, I think it's very simple. Is what are you offering your kids to prepare them? Okay, and then there's always that state exam, but I think we have to look at the big pictures. What are we doing? I think the SEL brings in that component. There's more to school than just testing.
Yes. Okay. Do you know if we have a vision statement? Is it written?
We just finished getting a new parent community engagement leader, and she put the bulletin board in the front of the school, and she actually posted what it says at Henderson Middle School: we will educate, motivate, and inspire students to become proficient in all content areas while implementing college readiness strategies and 21st century learning skills. So I think when you look at that is kind of a little bit about what I was talking about, the SEL and the importance of what education is going to bring to a student, and then how do you inspire them to be able to be having those learning skills that they need to be able to go out in the workforce and do well.
When were you first introduced to the campus vision?
I think one of the first times I was introduced is when I was taking a sneak peek when I was going to interview for the campus. Yeah. And so right before the interviews, I kind of wanted to get a pretty good feel of what was going on here at Henderson. And so that was one thing that I did kind of look at. I wanted to be familiar with it and include that in one of my answers with the interview because that was important for me to be able to find out what is it that the school's trying to accomplish? What is it that the group, whether it was a CIT or any other group, what is it that they decided at the end was going to be what we were shooting for, what our school wanted to look like?
Okay. Have you ever been involved in developing a vision of a campus?
Yes, I think.
And minus, if you're on campus, please report to the front office. Your sister is here for you. Belen minus, please report to the front office.
in the video, that's going to look like I'm a very good ventriloquist. But, I have been, not this one. To be honest with you, I think that was one of the things when you asked me about this. I remember doing a project about the vision statement and the importance of bringing the right people to the table, and then it's also important to promote it because when we're all fighting and shooting for the same thing, then we're much likelier to get there. But at my previous school at Moorhead, I was able to be part of one of the vision statements. I think the one we had was about 5 to 10 years old, and it had gone to 2-3 principals. And so I was a part of it, and so I was able to see how we got together as a group, department chairs, other teachers, some parents, and of course admin, and then we wanted to see what it is that we wanted to provide for the campus.
Okay. What were some of the guiding questions that you guys came up with when you were developing that vision? What drove it? I
think what drives it is they have to explain the difference between a mission and vision. But what drives is what is it that we want our kids to learn? Okay, by the time they step here in 6th grade and then they leave as older adolescents, what is it that we want them to know? Okay, and what is it that we can do to prepare them? Okay, to prepare that growth, to prepare that emotional, the social skill base. And I think those were some of the questions that we were throwing out there at each other because we wanted to make sure that it fit our needs. And it was a vision that was about us. And of course, you look at others, right? You look at what other schools are doing and what they're saying in their mission and vision. But at the end of the day, it was all based because the school I came from was starting as an IB, interbaccalaureate middle school. And so now we had to tailor that vision into the plans, which kind of leads us to here. I think two of the major projects I've spoken about, the social emotional learning, and that's one of the projects that's been going on here. But we've also been looking at the medical program here that we want to also implement. So that now has to also drive what the vision looks like too.
Do you think we're going to be redoing the vision soon?
I think, I'll be honest with you, I think unless it was created before I got here, Mr. Y got here, I think that is something that our principal would be in favor of because, again, now you bring in the major key stakeholders in here and you let them know, you address it. Hey, look, it's been a while since we've looked at our vision. Is it still congruent with what we want to do? And so those are some pretty good driving questions that I think would get the response of, yeah, let's take a look at it.
Okay. Do you think the campus vision is shared with the faculty, staff, students, and parents?
I think it is. Not word for word, right? But I think it is in when we have our admin meetings and we meet with teachers and what our expectation is. But I think word for word it isn't. But I think the bottom line is wanting to see student growth and how do we get there? Okay, and what is it that we're doing to achieve that? But is it really stated frequently? I think we can state it a little more. But yeah, so.
Who would you recommend would be involved in the revision of the campus vision?
I think, you can make a regular invite to teachers and see who wants to be a part of it. I think it does have to be a group of about 10 to 12 people. I think having your department chairs plus whoever's in charge of the fine arts program, the PE program, it's important to also get their perspective. And so it can be a group of about 10 to 12 people. Also invite some key parents that have been a good piece of wanting to also hit home what we're trying to do as a campus.
When do you think it would be necessary to rewrite a vision statement? Under what circumstances would they be?
I mentioned earlier why we worked on it when it came to Moorhead, and one of the reasons was we brought in the IB program. I think right now we're at a good place, considering our dual language program, considering our medical preparation, our STEM. And so now when you look at these components, I think right now would be a good time to see where we're at when it comes to the vision.
Okay. What do you think our mission right now? What does that mean to you as an assistant principal?
Well, I think it says here we will educate, motivate, and inspire students to become proficient in all content areas while implementing college readiness strategies and 21st century learning skills. It's looking like we want to help our kids become well-rounded. Okay, it's not just exclusive to one particular skill. And I think that's the bottom line, right? Because there's more than just being all knowledgeable. You do have to have those skills. I think the District 2 is moving into the active learning framework. And we get it. There's going to be times where we're at work and we don't always get along with our coworkers, but that's what we're trying to teach our kids when we're having them in groups, is that you're not always going to have the best relationship, but it doesn't mean that you can't work together to get where you want to go.
How does the campus use innovative thinking as a learning experience to promote the campus vision? What is it that the campus does to promote it?
Well, innovation, that's that would be interesting to look at what definition, if I ask Siri right now. But I think the innovation that we're trying to bring is, we're a campus that has a high number of EL students. Okay, I think more than half of the campus, and we're at 720 students. So when you're looking at innovative, you're looking at how do you give also our students that fighting chance to also compete for those high schools that are, the Chapins in engineering, the Silvas in health, the magnets, correct? And so what is it that we're doing? How are we being innovative to help those students also have those skills? And I think when you look at the social-emotional learning, which is a district one, but we're one of the pilot ones, but you're looking at the STEAM, at the STEM, and you're looking at the health aspect of it. That's how we're becoming innovative. I think the district as a whole, being able to provide laptops to all the students, that's another big step for that innovation. That how do we provide this equity? And so I think those are just some key elements, right? The innovation has to come of what are we doing differently to help all of our learners, regardless of the demos, of the economic disparities. What are we doing to try to give them the best opportunity?
Okay. Do you think the current vision statement addresses the challenges that we face as a campus?
I don't think and I guess I've spoke on behalf of that a little bit. I don't think it's specific to it, but I do all think that we are aware of it, right? And we experience it on a daily basis. But that is something that I think if we do work on a new vision, that would be a very good question. That could be a very good driving question, right? How does this fit our campus?
Yes. Do you think that our vision statement it's kind of related to that question, is it inclusive and representative of all stakeholders, and how?
Could you repeat that again?
Do you think the vision statement is inclusive and representative of all the stakeholders, and how?
I'm not aware of this one, right? When it was created, or who was part of that. That creation of that vision. But I think it has the right concept, right, of what we're trying to do with our students. But I think we can be a little more specific if we do when we actually do take advantage of creating another vision.
I think that because we are a high ELL campus, it should address something about language skills or something like that.
That's very true. I think too with a dual language program, maybe that's a way in which we're trying to make that bilateral and biliterate student.
Yeah. Do we have any resources available, either as a school or as a district, for the stewardship of the campus vision?
For the stewardship?
Yes. Like how do we get there? Do we have any resources available to get to our vision?
Yeah, and I think I've explained a few in terms of every student having a laptop, the technology aspect of it. We're also looking at students who have a particular good level of math acquisition, then we're looking to kind of let them know, okay, look, in STEAM, these are some of the other options that you have. Same thing goes in science, right? That's going to be, so I think being able to identify where we want our students and where their levels are and what programs that we offer, I think that's going to be able to help carry out our vision.
Okay. And then lastly, do you have any advice for me or any aspiring principal as to working through a campus vision? Any advice that you would?
You know, I'll be honest with you, I was at a training yesterday, and it was an AP district-wide, and one of the components, and I was reading a little bit about it, but there's like 6 levers to it, and what it was is, what the state is saying is if these campuses have these components in place, these levers, then you're much more likely to be an effective school. And I think one of those was the vision. Okay. Because it's kind of like if I go work for Tesla and I'm not promoting the electrical car, I'm still promoting the Ferrari that has so many cylinders, then I'm not in line with what that vision is. And I think whenever we do work on that vision again, I think it's a time for people to reflect. And it's a time for people to say, okay, what am I bringing to the table? Am I bringing that positive message that we are getting closer to that vision? Or am I kind of hindering that message? And I think when you look at the big aspect, the big component of it is important to look at vision. I mean, you know, when I did this 7 years ago during my master's, it was a big piece. And now, as we're going through these questions, it has to be a big piece because the majority of your campus, if not all, has to be fighting for the same thing. And they have to be seeing where we could be in 5 years. And I think if we have that buy-in and we all know where we're headed, it's going to be much easier to get there. And if we don't have a plan, then everybody's kind of working in isolation and it might make it a little more difficult to get there. So when you look at what advice I may have is, you know, it is a very critical important that we do have to set aside time to kind of get that response from the campus again. And see where they stand with the current vision, and if we need to update it or upgrade it.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you. And I hope I didn't shy away from the edge of the camera, but thank you.
Thank you.